Mm. And I'm going to take this time, thank you, Della, for allowing me to present an offering, a prayer, a little bit more story. I know we've been going over time, but I'll try to make it go as fast as I can. And I would love to have your music in the background. That'll calm my voice down and so forth. But I have been so noticing the shifts in our nation, and it is our nation's birthday. And I was reading a story. This really moved me, which prompted me to ask for this extra time. But it was about Thomas Jefferson's descendants. And they created an annual gathering. They created the Montecito Association, but it was only for the white descendants. Yeah, and eventually the descendants from Sally Hemings eventually were, I think, invited, to come to the gathering, but they were never invited to join the association until one man, him and his brother and sisters, couldn't sit with this. These were their cousins, and so they got the ball rolling to get them to come to get Sally Hemings' descendants to show up at the gathering. And there was a big debate and conflict over whether they should join the association. And it motivated me to rethink what this nation is about. And the flag is a real emotional thing for me. And I'm going to offer you some new thought about our flag, because this man and his brothers and sisters, they to me represent the red stripes. Now, the red stripes used to stand for, the original story of the flag is that the red stripes stood for hardiness and valor. I like to think that these people who wanted to bring in the Hemings descendants, they are standing in the groundedness, in the survival, in the blood that has been spilled onto the land, but also in the strength and stillness and stability of the earth. Red, the first chakra, is that grounding rootedness color. And then it alternates with the white. Now, the white in the research that I did stands for purity and innocence when the flag was created. Purity and innocence? I'd like to send this new thought forward. The white stripes stand for the infinite light of ascension and potentiality, the flow of healing and wholeness and trust that it is okay to pursue the unknown, for we may not know, but the omniscient mind of spirit does know. And white is the seventh chakra. So between the red and the white on the same flag is a really unifying way to bring these two thoughts together. Now, the stars on the blue background, the stars represent each state. But think about them bursting forth in their light power, their star material. Every state, like their own big bang of creative potential. And they are on a blue background. Now, the blue, back when the flag was made, they said it stood for vigilance, perseverance, and justice. I like to think of the blue as the infinite blue of sound and vibration. It has many meanings: cool, water, compassion, loyalty, wisdom. But blue chakra engages the voice and the telling of stories, like you had said, Dawn, that every state has stories to tell of their pain and their journey and their struggles. And the blue chakra also represents, it's a big area, it also represents the hearing of these stories. So when you look upon the flag, think about defining it in a new way, adding that seek spirit always, never stop. You can look upon anything and everything and give it a new thought. So I do have a prayer here, an affirmative prayer, and Dawn mentioned this a lot. It is in the tradition of the science of mind philosophy, and Ernest Holmes, very good friends with the Fillmores. You spoke so much of the same language as I learned in my science of mind training. So if you would please join with me in this affirmative new declaration prayer for our country. The life of spirit, the one mind, unified essence of all things, is a perfectly coordinated expression of all life phenomenon. What I call the infinite presence has no beginning and no end, yet it is always right here, right now, with every divine quality ever available, in all places and at all times. Spirit is the ready supply and source of good, healing, ease, and light. And this is what I am made of. My life is God's life, one and the same. What is spirit is also me, as me, and flows in and through all of my experiences, relationships. It flows in and throughout all of society and humanity. There is no separation in the infinite field of this one mind, and yet there are infinite individualized expressions of our thoughts and minds that are made manifest in this unified, vibrational, creative field of the one mind. It, Father, Mother, God, all there is, the infinite presence, is the force field vibrational glue that connects and flows it all together in divine order and in perfect timing. The experiences of pain and loss, illness, or fatigue has no power in the truth of God's omnipotence. As my heart swells with the understanding of truth of who and what we are, I declare the following, and join me with aligning yourself with these words. That God is present in this 245th birthday of the United States. And it marks a new direction of true freedom and prosperity for all residing on her land, connected to her borders, her love, and her potential. The full light of healing washes in and through the wounds and the trauma of our nation's past. The ever-present light of spirit openly and freely flows a readiness in all minds to hear the stories of this painful past, but also the strengths and resiliencies of the many groups, tribes, and the challenges brought on by our political mistakes or ignorance, by the climatic upheavals, wars, segregation, hierarchical practices from different regions at different times in our country's history. These stories have no power, but they are also in the story, God's story of our land, of our nation. They have traversed through the dark and are now rising into the light for all to learn and grow from. That the light of infinite potential and prosperity shows up for every citizen, for every would-be citizen, every man, woman, and child connected to this country far and wide. These include education, housing, peace, justice, respect, and opportunity everywhere available, just as freely as the light of the sun shining on all alike, the rain falling on every head, gently washing away any barriers to the full expression of one's abundance. Each person dances with their own bounty of good. For all of this, I am grateful. I breathe in a daily prayer of thanksgiving for this and more. There are no limits on what we can declare when we align with truth. I invite each of you to know for your own unfoldment, beauty, grace, healing, prosperity, and whatever it is you need or desire for yourself and others. Now, with this grateful heart, I simply release these words into the law of mind and let go into this power of mental equivalency, that which I immerse my consciousness in will show up in my life experience and in all of our experiences, and that of our sisters and brothers around the country and the world. And so it is. Amen.